Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target, a morning brief where we invest with fighter pilot precision every day. Have kind of a hilarious story for you today. Not as hilarious if you participated in this, but hopefully you didn't. But it's about ticker confusion. If you remember back in, let's see, April last year, Zoom video came out, which we're on Zoom this morning, and people bought ZOOM, and that stock of that little tech company skyrocketed for absolutely no reason. And then secondarily, this morning, or the past couple days, Elon Musk had said, hey, everybody, leave your messaging and go with SIGL, which is a messaging app. I actually use it for a group of mine that is secure and deletes and all of that stuff. He said, hey, go start using this. And in a tweet, and the stock literally has jumped of the wrong company because Signal's private. SIGL, which is a small tech company, jumped, let's see, from 60 cents to $6 up to $38, touched $80 on a company that I will show you is I mean, it's this tiny little tech company, has absolutely nothing to do with the actual investment. Since then, it has crashed from 80 all the way down to 10, and it's going lower today. It's our number one short out there. So ticker confusion, make sure you have the right thing. We're also going to talk about TLSA, which is dangerously close to Tesla, TSLA, today as far as a short. So make sure you know what you're doing when you go mess with individual stocks. As far as if you're catching us on replay, thank you so much for checking us out. Hit subscribe and notifications. And if you want to join us live, $25 a month to come on in the room. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone. Here's our overview of the day. Make sure that you have your calls or your chat window set up and your Q&A window set up with all attendees selected. Standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation. So you have to do your own due diligence for anything you hear this morning. Full disclaimer information is available at OTOTnow.com. All right, as far as our flow today, mission objectives are to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Today, we're going to talk about protecting our money from our own stupidity. So we'll talk a little bit. We're all humans. Everybody makes mistakes, but there's some certain things when you go to do a mild amount of research before you hit click on something, or a process I go through every day when I buy. There's two things I check right before I hit enter on that trade, and I put in across the book probably 100 trades a day. Not really tickets where I'm buying and selling, not trading from a day trading perspective, but going in and buying stuff for folks and then allocating it to their funds. So make sure you know what you're clicking before you click. Our question of the day today is going to be, what is a K1? If you've been down the K1 road, there's lots of pain there. If you do it yourself, you're going to end up doing a lot of data entry. And if you hire a CPA, there's generally an extra charge of like $500, like per K1, because they're painful. But we'll talk about what those are and why you have them, and pretty much how you can try to avoid them. For our flow today, long, short, open, short, long, we're going to do a market review. Your futures are barely in the red today, coming off a green day yesterday. Talk about the headline review. Pretty much, impeachment as well as some other things. Interest rates are creeping up, so people are starting to talk about inflation like nonstop. Our long-term investments will be the one I don't want you in, but it's the one we're going to talk about with SIGL, SIGL. We'll execute our short-term execution. You look over in the chat. KB Homes long is the primary Intel long. It's gapping. It's gone up from 53 to 60 already on the news of the CEO stepping down. Do have some other longs in there if you want to check them out. There's about 8 that all qualify, and then a couple medical ones that are low volume. But once you have the volume, you can get on those. Those are up on medical announcements. Short Signal and Big Lots. Urban Outfitters released earnings this morning, missed badly. They don't have the volume yet. But Big Lots is down because they also pre-announced that they're going to miss earnings in a big way, which kind of sucks because that's really for your retailers, especially a discount retailer like Big, that's their bread and butter is coming out of the Christmas season, and it appears that it did not go well. All right, let's go ahead and take a look over at our TD Ameritrade ThinkPipe screen coming at you right now. All right, there you go. There's our day trading stuff. Here's your Intel gapping up. Here's your Signal gapping down, and then Big Lots gapping down. But we'll get back to that here in a minute. All right, where are we as far as the market? We were in the green yesterday, even though it was red from where it opened. That's why you have that red doji, but pretty toppy, right? Up at that 377 near the market highs. What can take us higher? The vaccine rollout takes us higher. Stimulus, which is coming, will take us higher. The post inauguration stimulus bill is probably going to be, I would say it's at least 2 trillion. I would say it's probably 3 trillion and might be packaged with an infrastructure bill. And if you do that, you might even get to the 4T mark. We'll see. But I do think with the blue wave, we are going to see a very friendly expenditure of money pretty quick out of the new administration. And of course, they'll package it with the feel good and life is better. And we under the, fixing the country kind of mentality is generally what I expect to see out of the narrative. Those go higher. What takes us lower? Something happens to Biden, something with the inauguration gets jacked, like there's a protest that turns violent, or simply COVID rears its ugly head with another strain or whatever. I think those are all pretty unlikely scenarios. I think the market does march higher through the inauguration and through the stimulus. I think the next thing that's going to move the market down from a big perspective will be tax reform. But I think the Democrats should be patient enough to at least wait until June, maybe October, December, whenever to before they go for the throat on tax increases. So those are my thoughts on the issue. Here you go. Here's the yesterday's chart, if you will. Still in an uptrend. You can kind of see that, and then a lot of positivity this morning. All right, let's go over to take a look at some headlines. I cannot get rid of that stupid triangle right there. It's kind of bugging me. All right, the headlines. Let's go to, here we go. All right, we'll refresh. There's our Dow futures, if you will, very slightly in the red, but trending higher. As far as Europe, pretty muted across the board. When you look at those numbers, not much movement either way, technically mixed. Asia mixed, again, not a whole lot of movement. There's our numbers from yesterday. Again, a little bit more of a recovery in tech, but no big deal. But there was a bump in volatility. Remember, if the market does start selling off, go long VXX and you'll be happy. That's generally more of a trade than a long-term hold. Finally, actually, it's kind of weird. The 10-year treasury, after being below 1% forever, kind of rocketed up through 1%. So a couple things. There's a spike in mortgages for people that think that the low interest rate environment is over, even though the Fed has said 3 years. I'm saying 10 years. It's laughable to think we could raise interest rates, but it is creeping higher and healthy above 1. And of course, you see the headline there: remains lower as data shows inflation stays subdued. Other than people saying words, there are not indicators of inflation. So Yeah, turn on mainstream media and where inflation, oh my gosh, life is over. We're broke. I read an article this morning on Social Security, how it's going to be affected by 2020 and inflation. And oh my good, oh, I was freaked out by the time I finished it. No, actually, I wasn't. I was kind of mad by the time I finished it because people literally just love to scare the shit out of people. And for whatever reason, right? But it's not what the numbers are saying. So you might want to stick with that. Um, okay, oil up nicely up to 53. Gold and silver creeping back up. Remember, gold was touching 2000 going into the election. So down here is kind of stabilized at 1800. The new money, in my opinion, that would normally go into gold is going into Bitcoin. So up 5.7 overnight. I think it touched 31,000 or 32,000 yesterday, up to 35, and it was going higher this morning last time I checked it. All right, let's take a look at some headlines this morning. All right, yeah, this guy stepped down. He has been kind of universally hated as the Intel CEO. So if you're an Intel investor, you'll be thrilled with this move. This guy's out. Gelsinger is in. Gelsinger is more of a true engineer. To come in and replace them. So maybe Intel can turn the Titanic around. I'm going to use today, I do have some Intel in the book. I think I'm just going to straight sell on this news. But that's what's going on there. All right. You follow the impeachment, removal of Trump, 25th Amendment, all that stuff, which is this close to the inauguration, I think is a wasted effort, but I can see why they're doing it. But anyhow, not too concerned about it moving the market. Not going to talk about it here. Here's what I was talking about, the fear of missing out for interest rates. People think, oh gosh, inflation, interest rates are going to scream higher. My last chance to refi. If you haven't refied by now, well, what have you been doing? But yeah, if you're down at 3% or below, you don't need to refi to try to shave another quarter point off or whatever. So we shall see. Good news out of Target. That's good. Urban Outfitters was the bomb. I was kind of looking for that headline, if you will. I don't see it yet. And then Big Lots is down as well. Okay, don't see it, so we are going to move on. All right, kids, when you literally put in a ticker symbol or invest in a stock. So those that weren't here for the open, a couple joined here a little bit late. So what we're talking about today is ticker buffoonery. Elon Musk, I talked about it in the open, but Elon Musk tweeted out, hey, go to Signal. It's a encrypted messaging app. I do use it for one group that I am in. Yeah, you can have it auto delete, kind of like, Snapchat was so cool because it would auto delete. You can do whatever you want on this thing, but it's more advanced than your basic messaging or Messenger if you use Facebook. So Elon Musk got behind it and said, boom, let's do it. And said everybody should go to this. So people, when Elon Musk says things, people go to the stock market and buy the stock. So here you go. It's bebopping along at 58 cents. This is a week-long chart. So I don't know, January 7th, what was that, last Friday or Monday? Not too long ago, right? Bebopping below $1, and then it starts to creep up on the news, and boom, jumps up to $33. The first move was, it went from 60 cents to $6.60, and then it went up to $38. This is a company that when you look at their financials, which I don't expect you to do, but I don't know, does that look good? If you can read it, this is the highest point on this chart is about a -8%. That's the best news they've had in 4 years. And people are going on to, I'd imagine, Robinhood and loading it up on some SIGL because Elon Musk loves it. No, Elon Musk likely has never heard of this company. Well, he has now because he caused this company to go from a failing little engineering company to, it had a market cap briefly of $3.8 billion. And I mean, look at this failure loaded financials. Just kind of, it's pretty funny. So don't do that, right? So that's it. I mean, it doesn't, the more you look at it, it doesn't get better. So before you buy, when you go to put your ticker symbol in, as you type it in, it will auto-populate the name of the company. That wouldn't save you here, but it would if you're trying to short TLSA, which is the therapeutics firm, or instead of you're shorting Tesla, TSLA. It's just like, oh my word. Same thing with Zoom. When Zoom happened, the ticker that everybody bought was ZOOM. Stop it. That's a tech firm. That has nothing to do with Zoom video, which is ticker symbol ZM. The SEC actually stopped trading in Zoom, ZOOM, for almost a month back in April because people wouldn't stop buying it when they're buying the wrong stock. So take a second, breathe. You're not, even when a stock's moving up on you and you're watching it move, just chill for a second, figure out what you're doing, and then pull the trigger. All right, let's go over to, and I'll show you the chart on, and it's intraday. It's even crazier because I want to show you this. So here's our signal up here in the upper left where my cursor is. Intraday, this bad boy, there was a trade that went down. Somebody sold at 82.32 and some other person bought at 82.32. And the stock's down. It's showing, closed at 10 yesterday. It's down at, well, it was at 8. Now it's down at 5. Looks like our short's busted there because it's off 50% this morning. Even though literally the stock's worth less than $1, so you can still short it here. If you can get the shares. I mean, it's the most clear, obvious free money short. Ridiculous. People buying the wrong company. Too funny. All right. Let's see. We're going to take a look at, there's the signal. We don't need to look at that, but let's look at Intel real quick. INTC. Tons of shares in play, 53 up to 60 and going higher probably. We'll see. We'll watch it through the open. The other name out there is KBH for long. So they beat earnings this morning. Plenty of volume, 34 up to 36. They were already up at 36 not too long ago, so that does give them room to run higher. I like that. If you want to get a little riskier, the low volume Marinus Pharmaceuticals, pretty low volume, 23,000, but enough to where if you were to hop in here, they just had a release. You can Google it on your own if you want what exactly it was. But again, a positive medical release this morning, so 1214 up to 1289. And then the other one is TLSA. So I bring this up, Tizania Life Sciences. Make sure you're not in Tesla here. But again, this is a long. So where we at 288 up to 325. So you could buy a ton of this. 18,000 shares though, so pretty low volume. So just be careful. On the downside, we already looked at SIGL. Let's look at BIG, which is Big Lots. And again, falls on lower than expected outlook. So they basically pre-released that they're going to miss. And now, so it took the stock from 48 down to 45. It was just down here. So I think this can go a lot lower. And again, what caused it is Urban Outfitters released and their stock got hit. Don't have the volume to get into this, but 30 down to 28. And it's going lower on a pretty bad miss. All right, let's leave this behind and go back over to TD Ameritrade. We will set up for our trades. Again, Signal, if you want to get aggressive, it's just popped up to 6. Or Big Lots, I think, is a pretty clear short out there. Intel long if you want it. All right, let's. There we go. I'm tired of that screen, so it's gone. All right, make sure I got the right share here. Yes. All right, give me a second to get everything set up. All right, welcome everyone to the On Time On Target Morning Brief. We have 25 seconds until the market open. Here's the actual market, the SPY on the 1-minute chart, trending higher going in. Intel, you've probably heard this story. CEO stepped down. Everybody's thrilled about that. Signal is the ticker confusion that Elon Musk caused. This is a tech company and not the messaging company. And then Big Lots also pre-announced that they were going to lose some money this coming quarter. So here's the opening bell. All right, I like this. The Big Lots, you can see down 8%, Signal down 41%, Intel up 12 and going higher. So I'm really looking for about, this will be a 50-cent stop or so into big lots if we can get it. So if, let's see, 44.70, that would be 45.20. That didn't quite clear the high of the day. So stand by here. Let's go 45. We're going to short at 45 with a 40-cent stop. So again, looking at BIG short, waiting for the 45. We're not going to enter it until it actually triggers here. And if it goes higher, then we'll move the entry point up. So being patient, waiting for 45. We're going to roll up to 45.10. 45.10 is the entry. 45.60 will be the stop. Okay, we're going to get it right here, I bet. Let's go 45.20 is the entry point. There it is. Let's go short with a 40-cent stop. So you're in the trade short. 45.60 is your exit point, and here's your arrow. Just remember which way we're going. It's actually letting me draw this morning. Maybe they finally fixed their software there. So it's a 40-cent stop. So down to 44.8 is your first R point. 44.4 is your second R point. And your exit final point is 44. So if you're setting your limits, we're out if it goes above 45.60, and we're out preferably when it hits 44. So we're in that trade. We're in it short. I like the action so far. We'll see how it goes. All right, Signal. If you could get the shares, just short it here. I'll draw it. I'm not going to dork around trying to get these shares. But yeah, you could take it here at, you would need probably it's about a 35-cent stop up to 7.15. Be a close stop there for you. If you do a 30, let's see, yeah, 685, I do that right, up to, so it's a 30-cent stop, so 655 would be your 1R. Not taking this, but man, you have all kinds of room to the downside here. If you can get the shares short. All right, I'm not looking at the chat, so I don't see if anybody's trying this because things are moving a little too fast. All right, trade's looking good. We entered at 45.20. We're short. We're at about 1.5 hour point. This is a pretty setup, so really pretty pleased. Let's zoom out just a little bit, kind of see where we were. Yeah, kind of, I would call this pretty optimal as far as there was some profit taking, and it turned around and rolled short. So very comfortable. Have your exit ready at 44. I wouldn't keep any of this unless, the market, if the market was rolling over hard here, I might keep 100 shares or something. But I would just wait for the full exit at an even 44. All right, there's your Intel marching higher. I don't see a huge move out of that. So let's take a look at some other names. KBH. Well, KBH would have worked. Let's see what we got here. You'd had to taken it pretty quick, so probably you weren't in it until about 36.50. Let's see, $1.30 move to the upside. So pretty good move. I don't know that I would go raging into a home builder right now. This is KB Homes, if you're not familiar with the ticker. But we shall see. All right, looks like look at watch our trade here. We're still in it, but have that stop set. That's how these things can move sometimes, but we're prepared. That was meant to zoom in here. Yeah, that's why you have it in. So we're still in the trade. We've got within 2 cents. So if it makes a new high of the day, we're out. If it doesn't, we're going to be in the money. So keep the faith, stay strong. All right, let's look at some other of the two medical names I threw up. MRNS. Threw up is probably not the right term that I put on the board. Let's see, is that right? MRNS would have failed. It came right back down from opening up here. So not good on that one. And the other one was TLSA. There you go. There's the one that rockets higher. So it would have been a complete dart throw on which one of these, and you can see how it reacts. But the good news is If you're down, if you pick the wrong one, you're down 1R. If you pick the right one, you're up 3R, or even more. I mean, this is a huge move to the upside here. All right, let's look at some other names out there. Plug Power has been in play, so see if it's going higher. Yeah, it went below where it opened. Let's see, Fuel Cell, FCEL, up 5% on the day. Skills, SKLZ, up 9%. All right. And then Fubo TV has been on fire lately. It's up 8% or so. So you might have gotten a decent entry here going up higher. All right, let's see the other. Check on Urban URBN. Didn't have the volume initially, and taking that short. Yeah, about the only point you'd had to wait for it to go all the way up and then taking it on this move down. Market's going higher though, so it's kind of tough for these shorts to work out. All right, back to our trade before we leave it. We got big lots over here. We shorted it at 45.20. We got a 40-cent stop. We'll get out if it hits above the high of the day. It did test it, got pretty close because we took it here. Early on. So we've been in this trade for 4 to 5 minutes or so. I'm going to leave this screen. So either have your stops in or pull it up on another screen while we talk about what's going on in the overall market. All right, let's check in the actual market. All right, in the green across the board, Dow up fractionally, S&P up fractionally, and NASDAQ up 0.16. So really not a whole lot moving. Let's see here we're looking at the left-hand side. This is Palantir. Let's get rid of Palantir and go into SPY. That's what I meant to have up earlier. Okay, Nikola up big. Again, that's another EV name. Luckin Coffee. Who doesn't like Luckin Coffee? I think this is up over $9 now. Boom, look at that, 937. Oh, happy days. I do like this. 9 up to 937. What was the high back when it was getting crazy not too long ago? All right, so you looked at 1057 was the absolute high, and then it dropped all the way down to touch 7. So this was a test your faith. These are only like 3 or 4 days. Test your faith. So made a ton of money on the move from 3.5 to 1057. Down it goes, and then marching higher again. So this is not uncommon. You saw this move out of Palantir, the huge move up. There's going to be profit taking. So just let it happen. Keep the faith. We had so much, I'm not buying any more here. But I did just put somebody into it who was in it. I put him back in yesterday, I think, maybe 2 days ago. So somewhere in here. So that's a nice move for them. Okay. We'll leave Luckin in there because that's fun to look at. MongoDB, Neo, Twitter, Hillion, that's the old shell. Twitter bouncing. Twitter been sold off hard. There's your Palantir. Palantir PLTR got a downgrade from Citigroup to a sell. I think they're literally on crack. So Palantir has come in some. We'll pull that chart just real quick so you can see kind of the history. So here's what I was talking about the sell-off. Is it peaks up here at 29? It spends 10 days going back to 23. So that's testing your faith, right? But if you believe that data is the new oil, you couldn't care less that this happened. You actually might have even bought more. I know of one person in the room that actually picked up some shares somewhere in here. Don't remember exactly when it was, but that's why, hey, anytime in here and you're happy now. So, all right, let's look and see what's in the downside in the market. Some psychedelics at the leaderboard down, Clickstream, AMD. That's probably off the Intel news. Some money's moving out of AMD into Intel. I wouldn't be surprised if Micron's down. I don't see it bouncing around. Might be flat in Micron. I think I might have catched it all. Can't remember, but I don't see it. There's Zoom. We talked about the ticker confusion earlier. So again, ZM, confused, which is the actual video company we're on, where ZOOM is not. That was a tech firm. All right, let's check our trade. Then we'll go into the question of the day. So we're still in the trade. We're at the 1R point, or a little bit shy of the 1R. So we're up our money. A lot of congestion here. So we talk about congestion sometimes in trading. things can congest for a while. It probably isn't a verb, but I'm using it as a verb here. We like this, right? As far as our trade, what's that? 5 minutes of down move in the market. Market's maybe possibly flipping red here. Flip red while I'm touching you. There you go. Flipped red. That didn't sound right. But anyhow, here the trade, that will help our trade out. So I'm going to leave that and go over to our, ooh, look at the signal. That would not have worked at all. So people buying into this, that's crazy. That has to be short covering. Has to be. So anyhow, if you were to follow this up and trade it again, you would take it at 8 short with an 850 stop and take this bad boy south again. So that's all I'm going to talk about. That we might check. I'll check on that later after we're off air. All right. Back to even on our trade. So keep the faith. All right, here we go. Back to our question of the day is, what is a K1? And then I will let you go. So a K1 is a tax form. So I know there's some younger folks in the room. You're probably like, I don't care about any of this stuff. And I agree with you. You should just know it's out there. When you think of a business, if you start one on your own, which I think every child should have some little something going on, little side hustle, if you will. I'm a believer. But as far as if you enter a partnership or an S corp, you're going to have this K1 thing, and that's where they take profits and several other things from the company and split it out over all of the partners. So there could be a real estate piece to this. There could be, there's all kinds of things, loans, the money to, from. It's kind of crazy. So when you look at one of these, it's got about 50 different entries. So where if you have a business that's an LLC like myself, at the end of each quarter or year, depending on which taxes you're talking about, I literally have, here's the revenue, here's my expenses, and there's the profit down at the bottom, called the bottom line. Top line, revenue; bottom line, profit. Top line you can do whatever with. Bottom line is what's like enabling your lifestyle and your wealth building. So if you get into a K1 though, you still have that, but then they got to break it out all over the partners, and it just makes it so confusing. So the basis calculation, that's what's impossible, because you're talking depreciate. If you have assets in the business, now you have to depreciate them and spread that out over all the partners. And if you have multiple K1s, because you're into a bunch of real estate investment trusts that are designed as partners, which real estate realty income isn't, which is why I use that one. PPTY is not, which is another fund you may have showing up in your portfolio. But basically, none of those have a K1. So you can go online before you buy something and say, does this have a K1? And then, there's a K1 tracker or whatever to help people shy away from this. If you remember back in the day, Blackstone Group, which is the biggest private equity in the world, had a K1. And on June 1st of whatever year it was, they reorganized their entire business to get rid of the K1. We bought a ton of it before that, because as soon as they're released from the K1, the stock screamed higher. I mean, it's like total no-brainer. So if you catch news of somebody's getting away from a K1, you can buy into it before they do, which means you're getting a K1, right? Because you owned it while it was still in that structure. But for all the pain, you're going to make a ton of money when the stock screams higher, for all the people who won't touch it when it's got a K1, but will turn around and buy it as soon as it doesn't. So interesting trade if you happen to see that situation come up. All right, we're still in our trade over here, and just barely though. And with that, I'm gonna let you guys go, and we will catch you tomorrow. We're not here, so I will take that off the board. I've got a conflict in the morning, so we'll see you back Friday morning. You guys have a good one, and talk to you soon.